Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we are looking at question 88, which is merge sorted array. So we are given two integer arrays, nums1 and nums2, both of which are sorted in an non-decreasing fashion, which means both of which are sorted in an increasing fashion. As we can see, nums1 we have 1, 2, 3, and nums2 we have 2, 5, 6. The numbers are getting larger as we go to the right. And they are telling us that we are given two integers, m and n. These represent the number of elements in each array. More specifically, m will represent the number of elements in nums1. As we can see, m equals 3, which means nums1 will contain 3 elements. And now n will be the number of elements in nums2. As we can see, n equals 3, and nums2 contains 3 elements. The question wants us to merge nums1 and nums2, and we want to store the result in nums1. Fortunately, they have given us space to store the numbers of nums2 inside of nums1, or in other words, if nums1 contains m elements and nums2 contains n elements, the length of nums1 is m plus n, which means that nums1 can hold its values and the values from nums2. Okay, so the output is 1, since it's the smallest element. Then we can see we have a 2, then we can see we have another 2, then we have 3, and finally we have 5 and 6. Okay, so now let's go to the blackboard and explain how can we do this. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, I have nums1 and nums2 already made, and nums1 contains 3 elements, which are 1, 2, 3, and nums2 contains also 3 elements, which are 2, 5, and 6. And I also have put the indices of each element on top of the array. Okay, so now, as we can see, they have given us space, extra space in nums1 to hold the values in nums2. So we need to use this, and we need to be clever about this. So now if we want to merge these two arrays together, and the output should be stored in nums1, we don't want to start from this side and move this way. We don't want to override values. They have given us empty space without anything here. So we can use that, right? I want to use 3 pointers, and I will tell you why. I want 1 pointer to start here at the empty space. Of course, these are zeros indicating that we have empty space. We can just delete them. So we have empty space here. So we have 1 pointer start at index 5, and we have 1 pointer that will be at index 2, which means it will be at the last element in nums1, and we will have another pointer that will be at index 2 for nums2, which means at the last element of nums2. So the idea is that we want to compare the values that the blue and red pointer are pointing to, and the larger value will be stored at the index that this pink pointer is pointing at. Okay, since the array is sorted in an increasing order, the largest element would be at index 5. So let's see how this goes. Okay, before I continue, I have created 3 variables, which are insert p, which is this pink arrow, and int pointer 1, which corresponds to nums1, and int pointer 2, which corresponds to nums2. I don't like the name of insert p, it's quite long, so I will just say int p. Now, we said that this pink pointer will be at the end of nums1, which will point to an empty space. We said that nums1 will hold the values of itself and nums2, and the length of nums1 is n plus m. So this pink pointer will be at index 5, or in other words, n plus m minus 1. M is 3, n is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 1 is 5, so we have this pointer at index 5 initially. And pointer 1, which is the blue pointer, will be at index 2, or in other words, m minus 1. We can see that m equals 3, so 3 minus 1 is 2. And now the pointer 2 will be at index 2, which is n minus 1. So here we have n minus 1. So initially, we will have 3 pointers at these positions. Okay, so now, let's start. We will compare 3 with 6. Which is greater? 6 is greater. So we will put 6 here. here's 6, and now we will decrement this pink pointer to here, and now we will decrement the red pointer to index 1. Since we already finished with 6 and we stored it, no need to keep looking at 6, we just decrement the pointer to look at 5. Now we keep the blue pointer at 3 because we still need to compare it with other values. Now, which is greater, 3 or 5? 5 is greater, so we will store 5 here. And now it's time to decrement the pink and the red pointer. So the red pointer will be here and the pink pointer will go here. Now again, which is greater, 3 or 2? Now 3 is pointer in this case, so 3 will be stored here. And now we need to decrement the blue and the pink. So the blue will go from index 2 to index 1, and now the pink will go from index 3 to index 2. Okay, again, compare the blue with the red. Which is greater, 2 or 2? It doesn't matter. I will pick this lower one, so we can delete this 3, replace it with a 2, and now it's time to decrement both pointers. The red pointer will point to nothing, or -1 basically, and now the pink pointer will be at index 1. So remove it from here, and it will be here. Okay, as we can see, we successfully merged these two arrays in nums1, and we have 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So this is the idea. Now before I go and code the solution out, I want you to see something important that I have to draw attention to. So let's replace nums2 with another thing, and I will show you. Okay, so I have recreated nums1 and nums2. Nums1 will contain 10, 11, 12, and nums2 will contain 1, 2, 3. We can see that all of the elements in nums1 are greater than the elements of nums2, okay? So let's do what just we did a minute ago, but with these values. Now we will compare 12 with 3. 12 is greater, so we will put 12 here. And now it's time to decrement the blue pointer to here, and now the pink pointer from here to here. Now 11 with 3. 11 is greater. Put 11 here, the blue pointer will go here, and the pink pointer in this position. Now let's compare 10 with 3. 10 is also greater. So 10 will be stored here, and now we need to decrement. The blue will go to nowhere, or at index -1, and now the pink will be decremented to here. As we can see, the blue pointer has reached the end, and the red pointer did not move from its place, and the two arrays are not merged successfully. So we need to make sure that pointer 2, which is the pointer associated with nums2, reaches the end. This pointer must reach the end. When this pointer reaches the end, we know for sure that the two arrays are merged successfully, okay? So now let's go to LeetCode and code the solution out. Okay, so we said we need 3 pointers. We said that the pink pointer is called pointer P, and this pointer will be, we said, at the end of nums1, and since nums1 will contain the elements of nums1 and the elements of nums2, the length of it is m plus n. But since arrays are 0 index, in P will point to m plus n minus 1, okay? Now, we said we need another pointer that will point to the last element of nums1, and this will be at m minus 1. And we need another pointer which called p2, which will point to the last element of nums2 array, and it will be at n minus 1. Okay, once we have these 3 pointers, we will have a while loop. So while pointer 1 is greater than or equal to 0, basically we reached the end of nums1, and pointer 2 is greater than or equals to 0. And now we need to ask one question. If nums1 of pointer 1 is greater than nums2 of pointer 2, basically the number that we are pointing to in nums1 is greater, so we need to store that number in the empty space. So nums1p equals nums1 of pointer 1, okay? And after we do that, we need to decrement pointer 1, and we need to decrement the p, which is pointing to the empty space. Now else we will do the exact opposite. So else, let me copy this and paste. Okay, else the element in nums2 is greater, so we need to store that into the index that this pointer is pointing to, and again decrement pointer to and decrement p. Now let's go one more time to the drawing. We need to make sure that pointer 2 has reached the end. Okay, so when this pointer reaches the end, we know for sure that we finished merging everything. So let's take care of that. Okay, so while pointer 2 is greater than or equal to 0, we need to keep looping, and basically nums1 of p will equals to nums2 of p2, and now it's time to decrement both, so p2 minus minus and p minus minus. Once pointer 2 reaches 0, we know for sure that everything has merged successfully. So let's run the code and let's submit. As we can see, faster than 100%. Okay, so let's look at the time and space complexity. Let's start with the space complexity. We did not use any extra space. We did everything in place and we stored the result in nums1. So the space complexity is constant, big O of 1. Now let's look at the times complexity. We said that nums1 contains m element, nums2 contains n element, and we want to merge these two together. So the times complexity is big O of m plus n, where m is the elements in nums1 and n is the number of elements in nums2. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Best of luck to you and see you in the next one.